Hello everyone, we are now in chapter 10. We are going to talk about the heart and blood vessels. For the blood vessels, we have a very complex network of blood vessels to deliver blood to every single cell in the body. This network consists of three major parts. We have the arteries in red. The arteries are carrying blood away from the heart, and they transport blood under high pressure. So this is high pressure transporting system, and they have very thick walls, as you can see here. So these are the arteries. Then we have the capillaries down here. These are exchange solutes, and they exchange solutes and water, nutrients within the cells of the body. Also, they will pick up the wastes of these cells and put them back into the blood. They have very thin walls. And then we have the veins. These are the veins. These are returning blood to the heart, and they have very thin walls. So these are the three components of the arteries in our blood. Now, for the blood vessels. For the arteries, they are made out of three layers within their wall. The innermost one is made out of endothelium of squamous epithelial cells. Then we have the middle layer, smooth muscles, and the outer layer is a connective tissue. And in general, they would carry blood away from the heart, and they are carrying it under pressure. There is blood pressure associated with them. Now, blood travels through the heart, from the heart through big arteries, and these blood vessels would keep branching and downsizing as they get far from the heart in order to be able to pass through different tissues and deliver blood to cells. When their diameter gets smaller, we will call them arterioles. So arteries are blood vessels with big diameter. Arterioles are with a smaller diameter. And from these arterioles, the blood vessels would keep branching and downsizing, and the blood flow would continue into the capillaries. Now, into capillaries, there is something called the precapillary sphincters. These are controlling the blood flow from the arterioles into the capillaries. And here we have like two mechanisms, because sometimes we need to dilate the blood vessels to allow more blood to pass through. This is known as vasodilation, which is the relaxation of vascular smooth muscles, and this would increases the blood flow to the capillaries. And the opposite is vasoconstriction. This will contract the vascular smooth muscles and decrease the blood flow to the capillaries. These are the precapillary sphincters. As we said, these are controlling the blood flow from the arteriole into the capillaries. Now, the capillaries are usually made of one cell layer thick. So they are extremely thin, and they contain pore to allow exchange for materials. This extensive network of capillaries is usually called capillary beds, as we saw it here. This is the capillary bed. And its main function, as we said, is to allow exchange of substances with fluid between the cells. Think of oxygen, CO2, ions, sugars, proteins, you name it, wastes, okay? Anything that the cells need or will take it from these capillaries, and anything the cells does not need would deposit into the capillaries. So this is like a very a drawing for the capillary. As you can see the pores, and here a microscopic image of a capillary. As you can see, it's barely enough to hold one blood cell within them. And this is how does it work. Okay, this is the precapillary sphincter, controls the blood flow. Oxygen, nutrient, raw materials will be absorbed by the cells. Cells also will deposit CO2 waste into the veins, and the veins would carry it back to the heart. In many cases, there are substances larger than the blood capillaries. And these substances would go back through the lymphatic system, because the blood capillaries cannot hold them, cannot accept them, because they are too large. So the lymphatic system would pick up these materials. Here, the lymphatic system, although it is a network of vessels, however, a major difference is that these are blind-ended capillaries. Blind-ended capillaries. It's like this. Blood capillaries, they are extended, they are open, they are continuous between the artery part and the venule part. But the capillary system, the lymphatic system is dead end, meaning there is only one way of transportation. That is always going back to the heart. One way of transportation, going back to the heart. Now the veins, these are also 3 layers, however they are thin wall, and they have larger lumen than arteries, and they are carrying the blood back to the heart, and they have high distensibility. Now, they will collect the blood from the capillaries to the venules to the veins to the heart, and that is opposite of the arteries. Remember, the arteries, large diameters, or diameters will get smaller as we are moving away from the heart. Here it's the opposite. Diameter will get larger as we are getting close to the heart. So capillaries, venules, veins, and the heart. Diameters is increasing as we are getting closer to the heart, whereas with arteries, the diameters are getting smaller. Now, there are 3 mechanisms assisting in blood return. There is the contraction of skeletal muscles. Veins also, they have one-way valves that will permit one-way blood flow. And the pressure changes associated with the breathing would push the blood toward the heart. As you can see, this is the vein. These are the valves. When they are open, the blood would flow, but when they are closed, there is no backflow of the blood toward the cells or toward the tissues. So this would allow only one way of blood flow. Usually veins, they have low pressure, and usually we call this way is like milking the blood. Imagine there is like a suction pump, so in the heart that is sucking the blood through the veins. I will stop here. Please post your questions, your comments into the forum, and we will continue with the structure of the heart in a second video.